We've all heard the name Alexander the Great, the legendary conqueror who changed the world forever. But what made this man, who lived over 2,300 years ago, so unstoppable? Was it his military genius, his unshakable ambition, or something more? In just over a decade, Alexander defeated armies 3 times the size of his own, from Greece to Egypt, from Persia to India. His empire stretched across 3 continents. He was undefeated in battle, never once losing a fight. But how did one man achieve the impossible? It all started when Alexander was a boy. Born into a royal family in 356 BC, he was the son of King Philip II of Macedon. But Alexander wasn't just another prince waiting to inherit a throne. His education was legendary, taught by none other than Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers of all time. Aristotle didn't just teach Alexander how to rule, he gave him the tools to think critically, to understand strategy, and to see the world through the eyes of a conqueror. Alexander didn't just learn about politics and philosophy, he studied warfare, tactics, and how to break his enemies mentally and physically. By the time he was 20, Alexander had already proven himself on the battlefield. When his father was assassinated, Alexander took the throne and immediately proved he was ready to lead. He crushed any rebellion and set his sights on the Persian Empire, the largest power in the known world. But it wasn't just his military training that made Alexander unstoppable. It was his vision, his belief that he was destined for greatness. His confidence was infectious, and his men followed him with unwavering loyalty. Alexander didn't just want to conquer, he wanted to unite the world under his rule. His first major victory came at the Battle of Granicus, where his forces crushed the Persians despite being heavily outnumbered. His bold tactics, using the terrain to his advantage, striking quickly and decisively, became the hallmark of his military genius. But it wasn't just about tactics. Alexander was a master of psychological warfare, using fear, surprise, and charisma to break his enemies before the first arrow was even fired. At the Battle of Gaugamela, Alexander faced the mighty Persian king, Darius III. Darius had a force of over 100,000 men, far outnumbering Alexander's 47,000. Yet Alexander's tactical brilliance led him to a crushing victory. His use of feints, distractions, and the famous hammer and anvil maneuver left Darius fleeing the battlefield, a defeat that would go down in history. But even in victory, Alexander was not content. His ambition knew no limits. After Gaugamela, he continued his march eastward, determined to conquer all of Asia. Along the way, he showed a side of himself that few expected, a ruler who respected and embraced the cultures of those he conquered. He wasn't just an invader, he was a unifier, blending the best of Greek, Persian, Egyptian, and Indian cultures. He wore Persian clothes, married Persian women, and encouraged his men to do the same. He saw himself as not just a Greek leader, but as a ruler of a new, unified world, one where East met West, where cultures intermingled, and where history would remember his name forever. But even Alexander's ambition had its limits. His army, worn out after years of endless campaigning, refused to march further into India. They had reached the edge of the known world. Alexander, devastated by their reluctance, had no choice but to turn back. It was here, at the height of his power, that the legend of Alexander the Great began to fade. In 323 BC, at just 32 years old, Alexander died in the city of Babylon, leaving behind an empire that stretched from Greece all the way to the Indian subcontinent. But despite his early death, his legacy lived on. His empire, though fractured, set the stage for the spread of Greek culture, philosophy, and ideas across the known world. So, what made Alexander the Great unstoppable? It was his relentless drive, his ability to inspire loyalty, his brilliant tactics, and his vision of a united world. But it was also his understanding that greatness was not just about power. It was about leaving a legacy that would shape the world forever. What do you think? Was Alexander truly unstoppable, or was his downfall inevitable? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more stories from history's greatest figures.